Good afternoon. This is Mary Beth Barstow recording live from the vault. I'm here with Wendy Conklin, and we're here to talk about our theses. So, Wendy, how's life?
I mean, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's stressful and tiring, but running on no sleep.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's good. What have you found so far in your theses?
Okay, well, I'm not doing more than one. There's one thing I found. Let's see. I found a lot about like why tigers are being killed in India and China and Russia. There we go. There's that country. And a lot about like different efforts. There's one that's like, oh, we have to focus on law enforcement first before we can focus on like building more reserves, which I agree with more. And then there's like all the people who are like, just build reserves and they'll stop dying. So that's something interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
What have you not found?
I haven't found much on just like the people in the area, like why they do. Like I understand like it makes them money, but like there's no like, oh well, we're just gonna go like kill them for like to sell their pelts. Like what good does it do? I guess if like you're gonna get in trouble for it, because I know it's against the law, but then there's no like enforcement of it. Haven't really found out a reason for that either, because like I understand it's not as important or whatever, but that's just. And then there's reasons for the law enforcement, why they don't care, because the people who are killing tigers, like it's not like everyday people, it's like crime syndicates, which I thought was kind of like weird and like action movie-ish, more so than like tigers in China. And so they're killing them, and they're making like $20 billion a year, as in billion, as in 9 zeros, 9 zeros, 9 zeros, 9 zeros.
Okay.
Yeah.
How far have you come so far, and where do you want to go from here?
Well, come quite a ways, because at first I was just going to do just like the tigers rather, and then I kind of have moved to just like, since there's only 6 subspecies of tiger, like, and like 4 of them are over there, like why not just do the other 2? Because like most of it includes all 3 places anyway, so I might as well like have all 3 in there. Or all 6 in there. There we go.
So where do you want to go?
I was leaning more towards like a better way to preserve them by either like trying to make sort of like the government see why it's such a bad thing that they're just like discarding it as this just whatever thing with cats, like who cares, or trying to like fix the reserves they have, because they have plenty of reserves. Like India has like 13 reserves just in India, but only 1 are held poachers for like some money, like where the guards are like more lax, then they'll go in and they'll take tigers out of there, move them to China, because you can't kill tigers in China, which is why they have farms, but you can kill them in India and ship them to China illegally, but that's technically like not, I don't know, it's all these loopholes that people find that no one cares about, and so I kind of want to focus on those.
So how do you feel
about my thesis, or just like in general, how do I feel like right now?
How do you feel?
How do I feel? Well, I feel about my thesis, I get really worked up over like what I just explained, and it gets kind of annoying. Like one time, I don't know, like I just got really annoyed because I was like, so you signed a ban on it, and you like explicitly told like the United States, like we're not gonna sell tigers, we're not gonna kill them and like not care about them being killed, and you'll still do it. So I totally possibly Googled the Chinese president and his mailing address and didn't do anything about it, and it got really awkward because I thought I was gonna die. I thought they were just gonna like kill me for Googling his mailing address or something. I don't know. So that was terrifying. And then I don't know, but like I don't know. It's interesting and it's fun. And then how do I feel right now? It's energetic, even though like I didn't have breakfast. I'm just delirious. Yeah, this is embarrassing.
So now that you've talked about your thesis a little bit, has your perspective changed any? And how would you describe your thesis, like, in a sentence?
Okay, well, my perspective, like, I realize that there's more stuff, like, I haven't found. I can't really, like, I don't know how to, like, say it. Like I need to focus more on, like, going back to the, like, I have, like, 6 really definite, like, here's where I am, here's where I want to go, like, what do I need to do? I'll go find that, and so that's that. I don't know, I think might be a little harder than I'm thinking like it's gonna be, but I think it'll be fun because I think it's interesting. I think it's an interesting topic, and I'm really glad I kind of took the U.S. aspect out of it, like the captive tigers in the U.S. because that's still a problem in and of itself. But I don't really feel like dealing with that because I don't know. I feel like in their natural habitat, it's more important to save that than it is to keep them out of like someone's backyard in like Alabama. Like I know that's a bad thing, but like if you're gonna save them, you might as well save them in like not a New York City apartment. You know? I don't know if that makes sense. I feel like that sounds kind of mean, but oh well. Yeah, and then my thesis in one sentence is a better way to preserve tiger species in their natural habitats in China, India, and Russia by like thinking of a better approach from the law enforcement or a better approach to the reserve systems that they have in place that are really, really bad and not really working anywhere.
Oh.
Hello, this is Wendy Conklin reporting live from the vault. I'm here with Mary Beth Barksdale, who just interviewed me, but you never saw her. Okay. So Mary Beth, how's life?
Well, life is stressful, but I'm still breathing, so that's good.
Are you though? Are you really?
Yeah, I promise.
Well, that's good. That's good. Good. So, what have you found in your thesis? I see you have this snazzy
shirt. Yep.
Why does he have antlers?
That's a long story for another day.
All right.
But anyway, I found, obviously, Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki quite a lot.
Yeah.
But no, I found a lot about sort of fear psychology and why people are afraid of things, particularly even imaginary things. And I've also found a lot about the humanization of monsters in pop culture and even the monsterization of people. But I haven't found a lot that kind of crosses over both of those areas. So there's not a lot about how this monsterization of people and humanization of monsters actually affects people. So if people grow up watching TV shows and movies that tell us humans have the choice to become a monster, even that becoming a monster is easier, how does that affect the way we see each other? It has to have some effect. In my little spitballing, my mind bubble. But no one has really, at least in my search so far, has gone into that idea of not only does pop culture reflect what people think, but it influences what people think.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Don't you agree, people? You don't have to nod, but you can. So, opposite. What have you not found?
Well, I kind of just covered that because I've found sort of the two sides of it, but not a lot in the middle ground. So it sort of all goes together, and that's kind of where I'm choosing to focus my thesis is in that middle ground because there's not a lot of crossover.
Yeah, that'll make it like more original and interesting. So, how far have you come from where you first started in your whole thesis process?
Well, I think I've come a long way because I originally started with just kind of looking at the development of the modern monster and going from kind of looking at the development of the modern monster and going from, Mary Shelley and Bram Stoker to today's, Edward Cullen.
Yeah. And sparkly little,
and
vampire?
And the Winchester brothers, so.
No complaints there.
No complaints there. But now I really want to focus on not only the pop culture or the psychology, but the crossover therein. So that's where I've come from.
So, is that kind of answered you where you want to go, or is there anywhere else that you want to go on your paths of travel?
Well, one thing I feel like I need more of is more first-hand pop culture. Bloggers and people who see an episode of a show and they get this really deep, profound idea and they just sit on their blog and write about it because they spew some really amazing stuff. That's just, how do you think of that in the 30 minutes that you sat down and you just watched this episode and it made you contemplate the pros and cons of free will?
Yeah. Okay, so any more of where you want to go?
Well, I think after I get that, I would like to have a study that I can perform on the actually the kids in the lower school. So start with kids that are younger who haven't really had much exposure to pop culture, particularly, horror pop culture.
Yeah.
And move up through the ages until you get to kids who are more exposed to that and
Like-
more familiar with it.
Like our age or like middle
Possibly going up to
school?
our age, but starting definitely with like 3 or 4 year olds and moving up at least through middle school.
Mhm.
So that you get a very wide gradient. And I'd like to have, even if you just showed them pictures of characters ranging from sort of the classical monsters, so Dracula, Frankenstein, werewolves, etc., all the way up through, criminals, serial killers, monstrous people,
Yeah, creepy.
up to just a normal person you would see on the street.
Mhm.
And my theory is that the younger kids will have a much more defined sort of place where they go from this is a monster and this is a person.
Mhm.
And the older kids will have more of a gradient between them.
Like this is a
So-
monster, but it's fake. But this is a monster, but it's a human kind of
Right.
thing.
Kind of that kind of thing.
That's interesting. So, next question: how do you feel?
I feel okay. I'm tired right now. But
Just okay. Just
yeah,
okay.
just okay.
Just okay.
I feel pretty good about my thesis, and I'm meeting Dr. D tomorrow, so
Cool,
we'll
I'm
see how
meeting
that
with
goes.
William like sometime this week. I hope.
Yeah. So I feel good about where it's going, and I don't feel like we've spent a long time in the vault yet.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm wearing out on. I keep finding new things that are so cool and so interesting to me, and so I feel like that's a really good sign for where it's going.
Yeah. No, I think it'll turn out really, really well. So, now that you have talked about all of this, has your perspective changed on anything? And if you can describe your thesis in one sentence, how would you describe it?
I don't think my perspective has changed that much just from talking about it. It's probably just a little bit clearer about where I need to go next and sort of maybe steering away from more of the background, which is a lot of what I found like at LSU was just background stuff.
Yeah.
And moving more into this is really where it's going. But if I could describe my thesis in one sentence, I'd say that I'm studying the effect on the social psyche of